The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
I'm just gonna speak to the elephant in the room, okay?
Okay.
Did you know Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Did you have any knowledge of the Bobo family?
Miss Karen Bobo was my fourth grade teacher at Parsons Junior High School in middle school.
Did you kidnap Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Did you rape Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Did you murder Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Did you have anything to do with the disposal of Holly Bobo's remains?
No, ma'am.
Convicted killer Zach Adams taking the stand. Was he believable? And what are his chances of successfully getting a new trial for the murder of Holly Bobo? We have our forensic death investigator here on the show to weigh in. Plus, we're turning to the case of the mysterious death of Anna Kepner on that cruise ship. She's a high school cheerleader, and more questions surrounding this case than answers right now. We're talking about what happened in the cabin where she was staying and how her family tree may be connected to the death investigation. Plus, we're being a voice for victims for a popular college football coach who was gunned down, leaving a community heartbroken. A friend and mentee of Coach John Beams is joining us live in the studio. Plus, the family of Kaylee Gonsalves is still fighting for justice. They're now suing the university that Brian Koberger attended. So we're talking about whether this could tip the scales of justice in their favor. It's all coming up next for you right here on Opening Statements. Good Friday morning to you, and welcome to Opening Statements. I'm Julie Grant. We made it. We made it to the end of the week, and we got a great program to get the weekend started off right. Let's do things as we always do, my friends. Grab that cup of coffee right now. It's time for my opening statement. How does this loser get so lucky? Ashley, I don't care to look for my missing daughter, Buzzard, just caught yet another lucky break. The judge dismissed her false imprisonment case. Dismissed it. Poof, it's gone. So now, this woman who refuses to cooperate with the police about her missing child, this woman who actually went so far as to tear down the missing posters of her beautiful daughter, Melody, not only manages not to be charged for obstructing justice or endangering the welfare of her daughter, but she also manages to skate on the separate false imprisonment case. How does this callous, sorry excuse for a mother get so lucky? She comes to court acting like she doesn't have a care in the world when God only knows what's going on with her 9-year-old daughter. I saw the news of her case dismissal and it made me sick. Because this also means she's no longer going to be on pretrial electronic monitoring. No, she goes back to being a free woman. She can do whatever she pleases. This nauseates me. Her conduct is highly suspicious and downright disgraceful. And I pray that one day soon we're going to get the news of Melody's rescue. I pray that Melody hasn't been harmed. And I pray that if her mother put her in harm's way, that her luck will soon run out. That's my opening statement on this Friday morning. Let me know if you like it. Right now, it's time for your daily docket.
After considering the evidence admitted during the bench trial, the parties' arguments, and the applicable law, the court finds as follows. As to count 1, malice murder, the court finds the defendant, Matthew Scotland, guilty. As to count 2, malice murder, the court finds the defendant, Matthew Scotland, guilty.
Matthew Lands convicted on all counts, including malice murder for the death of Justin and Amber Hicks. His sentencing is set to start up at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We're going to take you there live once the judge is on the bench. In Florida, we've got defendant Daisy Link due back in court for a motion to vacate judgment. This woman accused of shooting and killing her partner, Pedro Jimenez. She was convicted of his murder last month. Court's going to start up 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And in Tennessee, we've got a post-trial hearing for Zach Adams. This guy convicted of raping, kidnapping, and murdering Holly Bobo. And now He's trying to get a new trial, and that is where we begin this Friday morning. His trial attorney set to take the stand this morning. But right now, we're going to focus on the defendant himself, the convicted killer himself, Zach Adams. There he is now. Looks a bit different from when he was initially arrested in this case. He took the stand, denied any wrongdoing in connection to Holly Bobo's death and disappearance, and some of his comments were pretty outrageous. Let's take a look at what he shared.
Did you know Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you have any knowledge of the Bobo family?
Miss Karen Bobo was my fourth grade teacher.
Did you kidnap Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Did you rape Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Did you murder Holly Bobo?
No, ma'am.
Isn't it true that you shot your mother?
I wouldn't say I shot her. I did operate a firearm in a reckless manner that caused her to get shot.
So do you recall sitting here in 2017 in this courtroom and watching witnesses give testimony and putting words into your mouth?
I do. Hearsay. Well, I sold a lot of drugs, and I found it a lot easier when I fronted drugs out. If people were scared of me, I got my money. I got paid. It was just the way it is in the drug business.
Did you say, I'm just going to ask, did you say, I'll kill you like I did Holly Bobo?
I don't recall saying that.
Okay. Did you tell Carl Statler that I did it?
No.
You were driving around in the car and said, let's rape this bitch.
I did make that comment. I didn't say, let's rape this bitch. We was riding around, and he was needing some money. He was wanting to rob somebody's house. And anytime I've ever stole something, I've always gotten in trouble. And I made the comment, well, if we're just going to do that, we might as well just go rape somebody. Because anytime I steal something, I always get in trouble. So that was, and after I said that, you know, the wheels started turning his head, and I wasn't admitting nothing. I was just trying to get him off the track of going and stealing something, which he did. He didn't say nothing else about stealing nothing that night.
All right, with us to talk about this guy, let's bring in death investigator and professor at Jacksonville State University. He's also the host of the Body Bags podcast, Professor Joseph Scott. Morning. Good morning, Professor Joe. All right, this guy, you know, he's saying a lot, as you know, during this hearing that's lasting multiple days. But what can we really believe with him? You followed the science in this case for years, ever since the news reports started swirling when beautiful Holly Bobo went missing. Tell us what we can rely on here, please, Professor.
Well, I don't know that we can so much rely upon what he is stating. However, we do know what, in fact, happened to Holly. And you begin to think about, you know, her remains, for folks that don't recall, her remains were eventually recovered several years, you know, after she went missing, and they weren't recovered by the police. They were recovered by people that were walking along through the woods. I think they were ginseng hunters or something like this, and her remains were actually partial remains, Julie. So you begin to think about this: how much evidentiary value can you take away from partial remains? We do know that she was shot. You know, she was shot essentially execution style. As a matter of fact, this horrible injury that she sustained entered in the right posterior head and exited through her left cheek. It's a brutal way to die, and you have to understand that her life, her kind of gentle life that she lived, came in contact with the very essence of violence and evil that these people lived. It was two worlds, you know, kind of colliding at one time. So how are we supposed to take away from this man anything that he says now as gospel truth? You know, you have a lot of time in prison to say things and think about things, and, you know, is he just merely stirring the pot here? And, you know, it's very interesting, to me at least, that he has this history of violence, even though he flees from it. Wasn't that fascinating, the way, that descriptor that he made about the weapon and his mother? You know, he's not taking responsibility for that. It's like he was ineffectively operating a weapon and it discharged. So in other words, you did shoot your mother. So, I don't know how much of that we can take to the bank.
Right, Professor. And a guy who can shoot his own mom can do anything in my book. This is a guy who also, he joked about rape. This is a bad guy. This is a really bad, dangerous guy. And to your point about what's reliable, as you said, one can sit in prison and concoct lots of stories. Let's go back in time, right? Back in time, I know you remember Jason Autry, his co-defendant buddy. He said one thing during the trial, and then, of course, his recantation recently is what's prompting this hearing, as you know, Professor. Let's go back to the time of trial. Here we go.
And he said, I need you to help me bury this body.
What was your plan of disposing of Holly's body?
It was the gutter, and I grabbed the upper torso of Miss Bobo. Zach come around, let the tailgate down. I brought the upper torso to the end of the tailgate.
Okay, so Professor, as you know, Jason Autry, and we know Mr. Adams' brother, the other two co-defendants, they both got deals where Zach Adams did not get a deal. Now, with Jason Autry recanting, it does seem suspicious. Why now? What for? I would love for you to weigh in on that, please.
Yeah, it does, and it certainly throws a wrinkle into this. And, you talk about the idea of the time that's involved relative to time to think about these sorts of things, and you get an event like this where this individual, suddenly burst on the scene and he's backing off of his original testimony. Well, now you're opening the door for all kinds of things. And here's the problem, Julie, with this case. From a forensic standpoint, the body is in such an advanced state of decay. You have scattered remains. One of the problems is that from an evidentiary standpoint, it's hard to go to that well of evidence and have anything that's going to be connectivity back to specific individuals. One of the things that we work in forensics is a term that we refer to as individualization. And so with individualization, you take specific items and you can tie that and certain events back to the actions of a specific person. Just look at the connectivity with DNA, even with ballistics, all these sorts of things that we can tie back. And right now, anybody can say anything that they want to. The tragedy in this is that now Holly's family is being drugged back through a keyhole over all of this based upon these speculative comments that you can't really back up. And that's the horror of this, I think.
You're so right. You're so right, Professor. Well, we're so fortunate to have your analysis, and you followed this since it started. I have no doubt you're going to keep following it closely as we see this hearing progress. We know it's not done. Thank you for your time this morning. We have to let you get off to class.
You're quite welcome. Hey, if I don't see you, happy Thanksgiving to you.
Professor Joe, same to you and beautiful Kimmy and your beautiful family. Give everybody our love. Eric Court TV. Coming up next here on Opening Statements, here's what we've got.
The truth is, the scariest part about you is how painfully average you turned out to be. The truth is, you're as dumb as they come. Stupid, clumsy, slow, sloppy, weak, dirty.
The family of Kaylee Gonsalves had some strong words for Brian Kohberger at his sentencing, and now they're seeking damages from Kohberger's former university. Plus, people close to Anna Kepner are speaking out about her death. We're talking about the family tree and how it could reveal more about her mysterious death.
The Court TV podcast will return.
Now for what's trending in true crime, we've got some new information coming out about the cruise ship death of 18-year-old Anna Kepner. It indicates that Anna was staying in the same room as the suspect, her 16-year-old stepbrother. Her body reportedly found underneath a bed inside of her cabin and possibly covered up with blankets and life jackets. The parents of the stepbrother in question have admitted that their son is a suspect. They're in a custody battle over their 2 minor children, so we're pulling the court documents. And during a custody hearing, the attorney for Anna's ex-husband, Thomas Hudson, spoke out about what was allegedly happening on the cruise. And you can see the mother in the top right corner of the hearing. We want to show it to you. Let's look.
Your Honor, it's our understanding that because the cruise was in international waters, that the young child, not the 9-year-old, but the 16-year-old was allowed to drink. The teenagers were given their own room in which to stay. Just a lot of circumstances that showed that the mother in this case was not exercising appropriate supervision over this child or the other child involved.
Reports online indicate that another male sibling was also staying in the same room with Anna and the 16-year-old suspect. So these 2 boys were apparently sleeping in the cabin with Anna dead underneath a bed. That's a grim thought. But what can we learn from the cabin itself? Let's talk about this. Let's bring in our power panel. I want to welcome in now Professor Mike Alcazar, also retired NYPD detective, and attorneys, both practicing criminal defense in the private sector, and former prosecutors, Joe Tamburino and David Bruno. Good morning to you all. Let's start with the cabin and what we can learn about this. These cabins, if anyone watching at home has ever been on a cruise ship, they are tight, small spaces. Detective Alcazar, your thoughts starting there, please.
Well, as the responding investigator, I would definitely canvass for surveillance, examine the scene. Hopefully, by the time the ship pulled into port, the staff didn't disturb this crime scene. So, you know, from what we're hearing, it looks like it was staged. Somebody was trying to hide something. So it would lead me to believe that, you know, this could have been something maybe perhaps accidental and they panicked, or it could have been a homicide and they panicked. So I think there's going to be a lot of DNA evidence that will be gathered and processed from that scene.
Oh, most definitely. Joe Tamburino, let me go to you next. Your thoughts about the cabin and the sleeping arrangements with these young people.
Well, good morning, Julie. Thanks for having me on. Oh, I have a number of problems with the whole thing. I mean, you know, number one, why are you putting all these young kids together with alcohol? She's not old enough to drink. You have step siblings there. I mean, I just think the supervision was lacking. That's number one. Number two, I agree with the detective. It looks like obviously this body was planted there. I'm also wondering, well, why put it under the bed? I mean, you're on a cruise ship. You got the whole ocean outside. Why didn't this person just dump the body into the ocean? And lastly, what a forensics nightmare being on a cruise ship. I've only been on one cruise. I really don't like cruises, but how could you do a forensic examination of a crime scene on a cruise? Because there are no trained police officers or investigators. I mean, yeah, they've got security, but it's pretty minimal.
That's another great point, Joe. Thank you. The New York Post is reporting this morning that Anna's stepbrother was obsessed with her. Anna's ex-boyfriend claims that he saw that stepbrother climb on top of her once during a FaceTime phone call. David Bruno, your thoughts on the arrangements for bedtime with these kids and what we can learn from that cabin?
Wow, I'll tell you what, we're not learning anything from the FBI, that's for sure. I was on last week and we were playing a statement from the biological father of Anna, still in the dark. And I wonder if that's changed at all. But what we're learning now, I mean, look at that first piece that we played. This is coming from the custody battle of Anna's father's new wife, right? The new wife's got that stepson in the cabin right there. And if true, if this new report about the prior attraction and physical touching and things like that, if that's true, wow, what concern I have about even putting them together. Also, we are 14 days from her death. How in the world are we still asking these questions if that evidence is true, that they have her body and that there's prior incidents involving this 16-year-old? I don't know what's taking so long to come to a decision.
Yeah, this is really upsetting stuff. So Anna's biological mother, who, remember, she's not on this cruise adventure. Her biological mother spoke to WESH TV in Orlando about her daughter's death. Let's take a listen.
She always wanted to make people laugh. She loved the water. We were constantly going to the lake here where I live. so she can go swimming. I found out through Google, because I ended up Googling it, because all the information the only information I had was my daughter was on a cruise.
All right, so let's take a look at the family tree. So this is a blended family. We're going to start with Christopher Kepner and Heather Wright. Okay, so we just heard from Heather Wright on that little voice clip we just played. So these two are the parents of Anna Kepner. They separated. Christopher later married Tabitha Kepner, and they have 2 children together. Those are Anna's half-siblings. Then Christopher married Chantel Hudson. Chantel was previously married to Thomas Hudson. Now, we don't know how many children they had, but we do know that Chantel moved to Titusville with the youngest 2 children, and that those 2 children of Thomas and Chantel are Anna's step-siblings, one of them being that 16-year-old boy who is suspected in having something to do with Anna's death. Now, Anna's ex-boyfriend spoke to reporters after Anna's funeral, which was just yesterday, and said that the stepbrother was obsessed with Anna.
Whenever I was on FaceTime with her, and when I was on FaceTime with her, and she was laying down, and the brother tried to go on top of her.
Okay, so Anna's stepmother says that her son spent some time in the hospital right after the cruise for an undisclosed reason, and that he has a psychiatrist appointment coming up early next month. So we're asking, does it sound like some charges are on the way for this young man? Detective Alcazar, what do you say?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a possibility. Again, depending on what the DNA evidence reveals, did Anna have any kind of like defensive wounds that they can, attach to this this suspect? They're going to look at, again, the domestic turmoil history. They're going to corroborate the statement that that ex-boyfriend just said. So they're going to try to establish, was there like some kind of pattern of violence that, that can help perhaps for courtroom testimony?
Right. Joe, your thoughts? Do you think this young man should expect charges?
Likely, I would say, sure. I mean, because of the whole situation. But again, it's a forensic nightmare. I mean, where are the videos in this boat? I mean, when you have a ship at sea, you're in international waters. I mean, even if the ship has an American flag, which many of them don't, they're all registered out of Panama or some other country. This could be really problematic. I mean, was this scene preserved? Did they go to the neighboring cabins? Did they look at all the videos? I mean, these ships have video cameras everywhere. Were those viewed? Were they taken by police? So, again, it's just a nightmare for an investigation.
Definitely, Joe. David Bruno, your thoughts? Does this kid need a lawyer?
Yeah, we also know in the family filing that the mother has invoked the Fifth Amendment. That is, that's fine, but Fifth Amendment does not apply to the protection of her child either in Florida. There's only a small handful of states that honor a privilege between the parent and the child. Florida's not one of them. So in the event that she does have information about the minor, then there is a way to compel her to testify and the threat of contempt to get information from her if she has it against her child.
David, thanks. I have a statement from the cruise line on Anna Kepner's death. It says, quote, Carnival Cruise Line is fully cooperating with the Miami office of the FBI. It is up to the FBI's Miami Public Affairs Office to provide further details. Our focus is on supporting the family of our guest. And that cruise ship has already set sail on another voyage. Detective Alcazar, is that at all problematic that crime scene has essentially been released?
Yeah, we seen that in the Coburger case, right, where they demolished the house. Now here they're putting that room back up, in the cruise. So hopefully, like our colleague said, they hopefully process this very daunting crime scene and gathered all the evidence before they released it. I'm imagining they did, if they're releasing it. So hopefully they did their due diligence and process a crime scene, to the best of their ability.
Right. Great insight from all of you. We'll report any more information as we're following this case very closely here at Court TV. Detective Mike Alcazar, thank you so much. Our legal eagles are coming with us. You do the same at home, please. When we come back, we're talking about the family of Kaylee Gonsalves now seeking damages from Brian Kohberger's former university. Could the lawsuit reveal more about what truly went wrong? But next, we're being a voice for victims. As a friend of slain football coach John Beam joins us live in the studio to talk about the legacy that the coach leaves behind.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
Welcome back. This morning, we're giving a voice to victims and remembering Coach John Beam, who was senselessly murdered at the age of 66. Now, you might not know the name, but you likely know his face. Coach Beam was a beloved star of the wildly popular Netflix series Last Chance U, not only mentoring young men, but really making a difference in the community where they lived.
John Beam, a legend now, 40 years coaching football.
I think he woke up pissing fire. When I tell you to shut up, it better stop.
Why are you talking when he's talking?
Coach Beam is the man, real talk. He really kept brothers off the street. He was a father figure.
This dude want to win everything.
Oh, damn!
If the game is the hustle, I'm putting my money on Beam. Beam gonna be Beam every day.
Y'all gonna be my age one day. Look, I'm in great shape.
What a great montage that is there, all about the coach. Now, look at this. This is where it gets really sinister. This is the defendant who's accused of murdering Coach Beam. This is 27-year-old Cedric Irving Jr. And while we will continue following the progression of his case as we look toward justice for the beloved coach, we're not going to talk about the defendant this morning. We're going to remember the victim. And I'm so pleased to welcome in such a special guest in the studio with me, someone who is a friend of the coaches, a mentee of the coaches, someone who really loved him, Hannibal Navies. You retired from the NFL. You were a superstar player, and he was a superstar coach. And you have such an interesting history with him, although he didn't actually coach you. So tell us a bit about your relationship. How did it start?
It's interesting, as you say, he didn't coach me because it doesn't seem like that. He's such a big figure in my life, and I actually, met him when I was in high school at a rival high school as a competitor, and he's such a fierce competitor, as you heard in the beginning of the show. Just his competitive nature just drew me to him. Even as a youngster, he still cared about me at another school and took care of me. And just, he was a legend in Oakland. Whether you played for him or you didn't play for him, everybody knew about Coach Beam and knew what he poured into the community of Oakland. He just serviced so many people. And my personal story for him as well, early on in my life and meeting him, not only that, but he coached my family members and somebody very close to me, my cousin, that we were really close. And if it wasn't for him, he was a father figure to him. He wouldn't have made it out of Oakland either. So he just did that that was countless number of times he did that for just so many people, father figure.
Wow. So you grew up in Oakland, and you were playing for a rival high school. And so initially, that's how you got on Coach Beam's radar. Yeah. And so did he reach out to you? Was he competitive with you?
I used to see, because Coach Beam was also a track coach, right? So I was also a All-American track runner in high school. So he coached he won, actually my senior year, won the 4x1 in state, right? So, we used to have competitive banter back and forth all the time. And they finally got us a state championship after we beat them all year. So even to this day, even just last month, we talk about it, just joke about how they actually beat us in the final race and won states. But he was just a competitor, fierce competitor, and he always had mutual respect for me and what I did. So it was just love that man all around.
Oh, definitely. And so take me through the progression. So you played 9 seasons in the NFL. What was your relationship with him like when you were playing there?
When I played in the NFL, it was like when he's there, I needed him. I mean, when he was there, he was always answer the phone. When he was there, when I needed him, he was there. He just was one of those guys. He didn't bother you. He didn't ask for anything, but if you reached out to him and you wanted some advice or you just needed something, the season was going on, he would just check in, see how you're doing. If you wanted to just get some advice from him, he was always answering the phone. No matter how busy he was always get back to you. It's just a resource for me and for many other people that he's touched.
Yeah, and so it seems like you got closer and closer with him. So it started high school, progressed to college, professional ball, and then after you retired, you started a foundation to help young athletes, the 360 Sports Academy. Yeah, and that you two were collaborating on with as well as recently as last week, right? Tell me about that, Hannibal.
Our relationship grew even stronger as I retired from the NFL because, you know, while I was playing, I did a lot of charity work and came back a lot to Oakland every year while I was playing to do foundation work and do camps and do things in Oakland. And when I retired, I went on to 360 Sports Academy Foundation, and I took it to the next level and just wanted to do more than just doing football stuff on the field. And so I talked to Beam, and we really talked about doing something at Laney and really taking my 360 to the next level and bringing all the Oakland students together and doing more stuff in the classroom, doing stuff off the field, right? Doing more things in the classroom, from mental health to social justice to, you know, college prep, all those kind of different things. So we did the first one at Laney, and we've done the 4 or 5 years since then. We're actually planning one now for Super Bowl. So it's just, you know, this is why it's so disheartening, because he just was giving so much, you know. And when you talk about Laney, for me, it's in the center of Oakland, and it's something that, you know, he was the athletic director there, so he opened up. He never asked for anything. He gave us, you know, free reign at Laney to run this program, and he did whatever he could to make it successful. So for me personally, I mean, 360 wouldn't be what it is without him, because he made everything happen for me in that regard, for sure.
I know he really touched your life in such a special way. I'm sure it probably doesn't even seem real. I'm so sorry for your loss. I know this is so deeply personal. You're holding it together here on the show, of course, but I know this is devastating for you, Hannibal, and devastating for everyone in Oakland. What exactly did Coach Beam mean to the city?
Yeah, it is hard. It still hasn't kicked in to me, but I am here today because I want to celebrate Beam, and this is something that's just important to me because it is such a sad thing, and it's something that I don't think he wants us to be sad. I think he wants us to continue his legacy and move on. But what he meant to me is just a piece of me, but he means so much to so many people. Everybody has a piece of Beam. And, you know, he was the heartbeat of Oakland. He was called the Godfather of Oakland football. I mean, if you know Oakland, it has its rough parts, but there's no place Beam couldn't walk. There's no place Beam couldn't go and be accepted in Oakland. And you know, it's just a loss for our community of Oakland, when Oakland community needs so much, and he was just a beam of light for Oakland and just such a great leader. It's hard to lose somebody like that in Oakland. It's hard to replace somebody like Beam in Oakland. So his legacy it's on us, and my condolences go out to his family and his granddaughters, his daughters, and his wife, and just, you know, I think it's just something that we have to figure out how we continue to take his legacy to the next level, and I think that's something that he would want.
Right. This is all beautiful to hear, Hannibal. Tell me, what do you think Coach Beam means to the black community in Oakland?
Sure. It's interesting. He wasn't a black man at all, but we never saw that. We never saw him as a color. We just saw him as a truth teller, somebody who gave us tough love, and he just meant he meant success. You know, we looked at Beam as somebody who could help us be successful, somebody who could help us transcend out of Oakland. So that's what Beam represented. He represented somebody like, if you want to be successful, you want to use sports as that tool, or you just want somebody who mentor you to get you through out of Oakland, he's done it. I mean, he's got over 40, 50 guys in the NFL. So that legacy is still going to go on. I mean, as you see, there's so many people, even if you didn't play football, I mean, from Gary Payton to Dame Lillard to all these different people that he's touched their lives, just means so much in Oakland. So it's just, and it's not just sports. I think it's men, it's women, it's just, you know, he sat on several boards in Oakland. He just did so much. And so, you know, it's hard to lose somebody that's a fabric of Oakland, especially when Oakland is changing so much. It's good to have a staple and a piece, and a foundational piece like being there. So with him gone, it's definitely a loss for us, a loss for Oakland, not just a loss for me. And I think that's the biggest thing, right? He meant so much to so many people. It's hard to just feel bad for yourself, because it's a loss for so many people, and Oakland loses. Not just me, not just his family, but Oakland loses with this one.
Wow. He sounds like he was really a gift to the community, to so many people. You touched on what he meant to your cousin. Would you elaborate a little more, Hannibal, about how he went above and beyond what a typical coach might do?
Sure. I mean, you know, my cousin, my personal story, my cousin, my auntie, she was a single mother. He didn't have a father growing up, so he didn't ever plan to play football, never played football. Beam discovered him and talked him into playing football and picked him up every day, because he didn't have a ride to school, picked him up every day and was a father figure to him. And if it wasn't for him and being that kind of light for him, it would have never happened. If you know my auntie, she doesn't let anybody in, like literally not even in the house, right? And Beam had a key.
Oh.
Beam had a key to the house. She trusted him. My cousin trusted him. We all trusted him. And he came and picked my cousin up every day from school and was a father figure to him and became California State Player of the Year, right? And went to college on a scholarship. And this is somebody who was never even thinking about playing football. So just those are just, you know, that's a personal story, but I hear those stories all the time from so many different people, how much of a father figure he was and how he just didn't think about it, right? He just did it. And anytime I called on Beam and asked him for something, he just did it. And if he says he's gonna do it, he does it. So that was just kind of man he was.
Oh my gosh, I have chills. That just gives me chills when you said how successful your cousin became.
Yes, absolutely.
And oh gosh, well, we are so sorry for your loss, your cousin's loss, the loss to the community of Oakland. And thank you for celebrating him. As you said, he would, you know, not want people to be sad. He was such a giant. I think we remember all the good as we go forward. Hannibal Navies, this has been wonderful talking with you. I'm sorry it's under these circumstances, but thank you for sharing all the great memories, and we'll continue the conversation, of course.
I appreciate you giving me a platform to talk about Coach Beam. Such a special person. Thank
you got it.
All right.
And as we go to break, we want to remember Coach John Beam. He was a giant, as you just heard Hannibal say, a giant in the Oakland community. The Godfather there, he was called. He became the head coach at Laney College back in 2012, where he won 2 league titles. And according to his biography on the college's website, at least 20 of his players went on to play in the NFL. And while mentoring countless others over his many years as coach, he truly made a difference. We'll be right back.
This is the Court TV podcast.
Welcome back. The family of the late Kaylee Gonsalves now suing Washington State University, the school where killer Brian Kohberger studied criminology as a PhD student. They want to know about Kohberger's past behaviors towards some people at the university, some of which included stalking women and being rude to students as a teaching assistant. Washington State University is only about 7 miles away from the University of Idaho, and that is where, of course, Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Xander Cornoto, and Ethan Chapin were stabbed to death inside of their off-campus home just a little more than 3 years ago. Gonsalves turned the podium at Kohberger's sentencing and spoke directly to the killer.
The world's watching because of the kids, not because of you. Nobody cares about you. You're not worth the time, the effort to be remembered. In time, you will be nothing but 2 initials forgotten to the wind. No visitors, nothing more than initials on an otherwise unmarked tombstone. From this moment, we will forget you. We want to all leave in closing. One last thing. You picked the wrong family, and we're laughing at you on your trip to the pen. That will be today or tomorrow.
Of course, that was Steve Gonsalves, Kaylee's father. Brian Kohberger serving 4 consecutive life sentences, and he owes money and fines and restitution to the victims' families. So what does the Gonsalves family hope to achieve with their lawsuit? Let's talk about it with our legal analyst guests, David Bruno and Joe Tamburino, with us. David, your thoughts on the filing of this suit and what it hopes to achieve?
When I first heard about this, I was like, oh, how can that be stretched to Washington State? Then I started to read the documents that we recently got released after. And Court TV has a great piece on this, too, about the complaints that Washington State got from, there's 13 complaints there from professors and students about his behavior and concerning behavior. So there is a leg to stand on here moving forward. And if they can get past the motion to dismiss, the early motions that defendants typically file, they're going to be able to get information through discovery, interrogatories, depositions, notice to producers. They may get some answers that we never got from the prosecution because of the plea deal that cut the death penalty off the table, which I think we're all critical of still.
Definitely, David. The school, we know, did fire Kohberger for some behavioral problems when he was a teaching assistant. Joe, your thoughts on whether this lawsuit will have legs?
I think it could have legs. I mean, in any lawsuit, it's basically you need this. First, you need notice so that the person who's the defendant in the case, the person who you're suing, was on notice that something is wrong, say. Then you need a failure to act, that they didn't act on this. And next, you need that it's all based on negligence. So through discovery, as David mentioned, if you can show that the university was on notice that this guy has violent tendencies, hates women, some type of, violent problems, and the university failed to act based on their negligence, yes, it could have legs. The big thing is going to be the summary judgment motion. I mean, I think the school is going to do two motions. One is they'll make a motion to dismiss the complaint just like that. I think that'll fail. But then they'll go through a discovery process, and then they'll try to do a summary judgment motion, meaning that the defendant is going to say, look, regardless of what the discovery shows, there's no claim here, Judge. So if it makes it past summary judgment, yes, this definitely has legs.
I appreciate that analysis, Joe. So thinking about Kohberger, I think a lot of us think, were there red flags that might have been missed? I think we all say, hindsight's 20/20, right? But is there something just that may be a bit satisfying about just kind of looking back and seeing, was there anything that was missed with him that could have been a preventative factor here? David, your thoughts?
Yeah, this is what we're talking about. I mean, he was a PhD student studying there. He was a teacher's assistant as well. I mean, he had responsibility and authority within those circles as well. So that makes it even more puzzling, the sheer violence that was used and the studying of this. We have to look back on this. We have to learn from this. We have to look at all of these curriculums and all these students. And I think every single one of the curriculums all across the country should at least have some awareness to the fact that it may be someone trying to learn criminology for the wrong reasons.
I appreciate it, David. Apparently, there was even a tally board in a student office that was being used to track Kohberger's discriminatory comments. And some female students avoided being alone with him. So they're tracking, the things he's saying and all that. It tells me he was on people's radars. Joe, final thoughts on this and whether we'll learn more than we do right now.
Well, what you just said is the crucial point, which is on the radar, but on the radar for what? If this was some type of sexual discrimination case or something like that, yes, I would say right now it's got excellent legs, because you got all these complaints about how Kohberger, may have made some sexist or racial comments. So yes, with something like that. But was it on the radar for homicide, for murder, for use of a dangerous weapon? That's going to be the crucial issue. So, I think it's important for the victims to do this suit. I can totally understand why, but I do think it's going to be an uphill battle.
Yeah, appreciate it, Joe. We, of course, as always, send every good wish to the Gonsalves family and all of the families of those victims of this atrocious conduct. And we'll keep watching it as the suit progresses. Big thanks to you both for being with us this hour. Joe's coming with us for Court TV Live. David, we have to let you get off to court. If we don't see you, happy Thanksgiving to you and your beautiful family. We'll see you soon. And that's all for this episode of Opening Statements. Friends, you can watch it or share it again if you like. Go to courttv.com to do that. Click on the shows. That's all for this episode of Opening Statements, my friends. I'm your host, Julie Grant, and it's been great being with you. On this show, I am calling out any pants on fire moments in our big trials and true crime stories, and I want you to come along with me. Opening Statements is live every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern on Court TV. Thank you for downloading this episode. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. You can watch past shows anytime you like on courttv.com.